Israelis vote for parties, not people.
So how do Poles feel about the law?
Él quiere ponerlas en una exposición aquí en Israel.
The Israeli government says the storms have cost 2 billion shekels, but what does that do to the water levels? They think that's not the case for Prime Minister Netanyahu. A ceasefire was announced hours ago, yet rockets are still being launched in this area. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says that he's increasing police protection. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand says one of the most important things women are doing right now is running for office. It only takes one to change the world. And this year, at the ROI Summit in Jerusalem, there's 150 who want to give it a shot.
Hello, and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Shanna Fuld, here with ILTV's Morning Brief. We may be on the other side of the world from California, but there are plenty of cries from Israelis following the sudden death of basketball legend Kobe Bryant. If you're on the subway in New York and you don't have a mirror, Aaron, please.
Please. Perfect.
The new Israeli shekel is actually doing very well in the global economy. Though again, depending on where you live, this is either great news or really bad news.
ILTV's Shanna Fuld is here with this special report. Shanna?
So doctors, professors, rabbis are taking this very public moment here in Israel to acknowledge a genocide in China. I spoke with a Holocaust survivor, and she's one of the many people that are signing on to this petition. Let's take a look at my report.
The exact numbers are unclear, but it is thought that between 1 and 3 million Muslim minorities are being held in detention camps in Xinjiang, China's western region. Called a cultural genocide, reports say Chinese nationalists are trying to drive out religious minorities from China, including Uyghurs, Kazakhs, and other Muslim minorities. The UN's Human Rights Watch recently blasted the country during a 2020 World Report.
Abroad, the Chinese government is increasingly using its growing economic and diplomatic clout to silence critics and to carry out the most intense assaults on the global system for enforcing human rights that we've ever seen.
The Chinese government has said the camps are meant to offer job training while eradicating religious extremism and teaching Mandarin. But a series of leaked government documents suggest government heads are ethnically cleansing people and forcing them to lose their religious identities while causing them physical and even sexual harm. And now, more than 100 Israeli professors, doctors, rabbis, and Holocaust survivors around Israel are signing a petition calling on world leaders to acknowledge the genocide and take a moral stance. The petition is rolling out as 45 leaders from around the world roll in to Israel to commemorate 75 years since the liberation of Auschwitz. Those who signed on say never again means you have to take action against any kind of genocide. But Chinese global television anchors say Western reports of Muslims gone missing from society are baseless and that the numbers come from questionable studies.
We questioned local government officials about this, and the answer we got was among the 100+ missing Uyghurs, half of them cannot be verified due to incomplete information such as misspelling of names, and a third are under criminal investigation or convicted criminals. The rest are actually living normal lives, and many of them have never been to the education centers.
Doctor and surgeon Jacob Levy spoke with ILTV about his purpose in working on the petition.
I believe that while the leaders of the world convene today in Jerusalem to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the end of the most horrific page in human history, it is only apt we should all call upon them to act immediately to stop the most heinous human crime of this century, which is still carried out by Chinese transplant physicians to this very day.
Levy is talking about an address given at the UN Human Rights Council that concluded hundreds of thousands of prisoners have had their organs harvested, with their kidneys and livers forcibly removed from them, sometimes while awake, and are then sold for hundreds of thousands of US dollars. Every year, on the first Sunday of October, around 500,000 evangelical Christian groups around the world pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And this year, hundreds have boarded a plane to the Holy Land to pray and sing together in a special annual event.
And the time the airplane came, it's arrived here, I just felt I'm home.
It's called the Global Day of Prayer for the Peace of Jerusalem. And this week, the Ha'as Promenade was filled with 33 pastors from Brazil, U.S. Ambassador David Friedman, church groups from Alabama, and the event founder, Bishop Robert Stearns.
Every single year we see two things. We see the growth of more and more nations, more and more churches participating, younger and younger people coming to the land. But then we see something else. We see more and more Jews and Christians becoming friends.
Isaiah said thousands of years ago that the house of God will be the house of prayer for all nations, and all the nations will come here and pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Evangelical Christians are considered the largest group of Israel supporters outside of the Jewish people themselves. It makes sense. Many believe that all of the Jews must gather in Israel in order to ensure the second coming of Jesus Christ.
I see myself as a Christian differently than I did before coming to this land.
I felt alive. I can breathe, and now I know He's alive. Makes sense what I believe.
One of the focuses for pastors at this year's event is getting young millennials to strengthen their support for Israel and believe in the state's right to exist.
We're beginning to see a massive disconnect between young millennial Christians and Israel. And what we're seeing is a rise of anti-Semitism, replacement theology. And if we don't reach this younger generation, there will not be supporters of Israel in the future. The best way to do that is to bring young millennial Christians to the land of Israel.
It's absolutely crucial because younger people, they don't read the Bible like they used to. They're living on YouTube. So the Bible stories that my generation was raised on are not so familiar. So when you bring them here and they see it firsthand, it moves their heart.
There's a new breed of Christian on the earth. I think for a long time, for 2,000 years, Christians have not been good friends, good younger brothers to Israel. And we are fighting to see the tide turn, to see a new breed of Christian raised up, but are going to say to Israel, your God is my God and your people is my people.
We're here in Yad Mordechai. It's a kibbutz about 2 miles from the Gaza border. When an alarm sounds, there's 15 seconds or less for people to get to safety. Most people in Israel are able to run into a shelter room close by when there is a security threat. But what do senior citizens do if they can barely walk?
I help them. We can save ourselves, but them, how they can run? How? You see them. They are in the bed. They cannot come.
Sí, que si camino por la calle y me caigo, enseguida puede llegar alguien que me ayude o a levantarme o sabiendo en el estado en que nosotros estamos viviendo.
Beit HaOren is the senior home within the Yad Mordechai kibbutz community. And since Tuesday, more than 450 rockets have been fired from the Gaza Strip towards central and southern Israel. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad is retaliating for the killing of its commander Abu al-Atta, who Israeli security believed was planning a massive attack on the country.
Hay momentos que uno se siente más seguro y otros momentos más débil, pero siempre sé que estoy defendida en este país.
Most of this building is missile-proof, except for some corridors. Seniors tell us they've been trained on how to respond to alerts of fire.
Estamos educados para estos momentos.
¿Tienes miedo?
No, ¿miedo a qué? No hay lo que temer. Lo que tiene que llegar, llega de cualquier manera.
I feel that I'm happy because I help them. We come to work because of them. We have to come to save them.
A ceasefire was announced hours ago, yet rockets are still being launched in this area. If you look around, you won't see anyone in the streets because they're not close enough to a bomb shelter. Even animals are affected by the noise.
Anytime there's a session of rocket firing, he really gets into himself. He sits in the safe room in the mamad, and he doesn't come out, and he doesn't want to go for a walk, and he doesn't want to drink, he doesn't want to eat, and it really affects him.
In last cases, after they have decided on ceasefire, there were some shelling. So it's like kids playing. I want to be the last to hit or the last to say the last word. We know that routine. When they announce a ceasefire, the shelling is not over yet.
But though things have been tense and tiring at the kibbutz, everyone we spoke with said they hope things will get quiet soon.
Llegue la paz, pero para todos. Y que todo el mundo disfrute de esa paz.
And when we asked the 96-year-old how she looked so young, she answered,
Porque trabajé toda mi vida